Okay, so we're going to start by first of all me asking you guys what you know or what is the Bhagavad-Gita to you. What do you know of it? Just shout out your answers. Anything you know about it? Yes, shout.
500 year old knowledge.
500. 500.
5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Okay, 5,000 year old knowledge. Anything else? Anyone?
Word of God.
It's a word of God. Okay? Next. Yes?
It's an infinite timeline. There is no timeline to this knowledge because it was said at the start of the universe.
Wow. So is it 5,000 or is it infinite? Okay, so we have infinite. Okay. Yes? Sorry? Life manual. Wow. Life manual. Okay. Anything else?
Conversation between Arjuna and Krishna.
It's a conversation. Okay. Conversation between Divine Krishna and Arjuna. Yes? Oh, yes. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay. So, it was spoken 5,000 years ago, and so whoever that is right, it is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, so that's also right. Okay, where was it spoken? Where was it spoken? Yes.
Battlefield of Kurukshetra.
The battlefield of Kurukshetra. It's already out. Okay, how long is it? How long is the Bhagavad-Gita? Anyone? 18,000.
18.
Okay, 18,000. Okay, next.
700.
700. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. It is 700 verses long, and it appears in the Bhagavad. Now it appears in a part of the Bhagavad which is towards the end. It's called the Bhishma Parva, between chapters 25 and 42. And anyone wants to guess how long the Bhagavad is in terms of verses? Anyone wants to guess?
20,000.
Sorry?
20,000.
20,000. Okay.
One less.
They are very old.
One less.
Huh?
100,000.
Yes, that's right. It's 100,000 verses long. So the Bhagavad Gita is just 700 verses out of 100,000 verses. But the Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the entire Mahabharata. Now, how can you understand this analogy? How many of you here have got a diamond ring? Anyone have got a diamond ring? Yeah. What is the percentage of the diamond compared to the ring? Yeah. So you will have 95% be gold, and only 5% of the ring is a diamond itself. Yet we call it a diamond ring. We don't call it a gold ring. So that is why the Bhagavad Gita is like the diamond of the entire golden like Mahabharata. Okay? That's how we can understand this. Okay. What else? What is the influence of Bhagavad Gita? It has influenced many great philosophers, thinkers, scientists, and I can give you examples like Mahatma Gandhi, Albert Einstein, Robert Oppenheimer, even Mandela. Mandela got inspiration from the Bhagavad Gita, which he was able to use to forgive his perpetrators. And finally, it is the essence of all Vedic knowledge. And this one verse will help you see how it is. Okay? So it says, Sarva Parishad Davo, Dokta Uppala Nandana, Artha Vatsa Sudhi Bhokta, Dukta Nidamritam Mahat. It means all the Upanishads are like a cow. So think of all the Vedic literatures to be a cow. And the milker of the cow is Lord Shri Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is a cow, and the beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk. And the fortunate devotees of fine aesthetic intellect are the drinkers and enjoyers of that milk. So, if we look at it, this verse shows that the entire essence of all Vedic knowledge is contained in this one book. If you have no time to read anything else, then just make time enough to read and understand this one book. It's as if you have understood the entire Vedas. Okay? So now, what is its purpose? What is the purpose of reading and understanding the Bhagavad-Gita? So the first purpose is to deliver mankind from ignorance. Now what is this ignorance? Does anyone know what ignorance means? The word ignorance. Anyone? Okay, ignorance basically means a lack of knowledge or understanding. So you'll be thinking like, wait, so what type of ignorance is this being talked about? What has mankind not achieved? What is mankind having a lack of understanding about? What is mankind having a lack of knowledge about? So, this lack of knowledge is regarding our nature and of how to be happy in this world. Some people also go to the extent of saying ignorance is bliss. How many of you heard that phrase? Ignorance is bliss. Yeah? So, for example, there's an ostrich. How many of you have seen ostriches in the national park here? You've seen ostriches? Now what does an ostrich do? When he sees a predator hunting towards him, you know what the ostrich does?
Hides its face in the sand.
It hides its face in the sand. Why does it do that?
Forget ignorance. Forgets about it.
Yeah, because he thinks that if he puts his head in the ground, the danger is no longer there. But is that really going to help the ostrich? No, it's not going to help the ostrich. It's just going to give him some relief from thinking about the inevitable, that he's going to face death in a few moments. So, even in life, we are all going to be faced with the prospect of death. But without thinking about death, will that help us? Everyone says that there are two things in life which are certain: death and taxes. But here we just focus on that death part here. And if somebody tells you, if somebody is very sick and they continue to ignore the symptoms of their sickness, would you tell that person to be very intelligent? Would you consider that person to be very intelligent? No, yeah. So, similarly, we face in our life many constant difficulties, like problems. And we all know different types of problems. For children, it will be studies, it will be examinations. For grown-ups, it will be familial, financial, career, physical. All these are problems, and they are endless. And if we do not ponder on the source of why these things happen to us, if we don't ponder about that, then are we really very intelligent people? No, we are not very intelligent people. So basically, man is ignorant of how life is just progressing from one suffering to another. And the interim relief is taken to be happiness. So, how we can understand this is, say there's a person, they just come in a few men come in a band and they kidnap one of us. And they take them and it's like an old warehouse. and they try to start interrogating this person. And the way they do it is they put your face in the water, and then they remove it, and then for 2 seconds you get air to breathe. And then again they dump you in the water. So, if that 2 seconds of air, which is like temporary relief, how valuable would that be to the person who is drowning? How valuable would that be? So the person who is drowning will consider the 2 seconds of air to be like happiness for him, because I got relief. I got relief. So my question to you guys is, how many of you want to be happy? Just raise your hands. How many of you want to be happy? Okay, I see some people who don't want to be happy. Everyone is happy, yeah? Okay, my second question is, now in this happiness, do you want it to ever end, or do you want it to be endless? Endless. Okay. But from this example, how many of you believe that for you to be happy in this world, you must undergo some suffering? You must undergo some suffering. You must undergo. Okay, so if you have answered yes to the last one, then maybe we should just take you and dump you in the water and then get you out so that you can have some experience of happiness. Yeah, for those 2 seconds. Yeah? So, if you really think deeply about it, the happiness of this world is 3 things. It's temporary, flickering, and unsatisfactory. It will always disappoint us, because ultimately they are of 3 qualities. They are of number 1, they are unattainable. Number 2, they are unpalatable. And number 3 is finally it is unretainable. And this is true for everything. Okay, I want to volunteer. Any volunteer? Sham. Okay, Sham. What is your favorite food? Chili curry. Okay. So, what happens when you don't even have money to buy chili curry? What happens to you? You feel hungry. You feel, is hunger a good emotion? No. Say you had the money to purchase a chili curry, but then it doesn't come up to the level of what you are thinking it would be. So sometimes, if something is attainable, then whatever is sometimes also is unpalatable. So what you thought it would give you, it doesn't turn out to meet your expectations. Okay, say you got the money to buy chili curry, and it is the best chili curry you've ever had. But then how much do you eat? Now, you can only eat how much? Only this much. Otherwise, if I give you more chili curry, you'll be like, oh my god, diarrhea. I cannot take it anymore. So, no matter how much material things you have, if it is unattainable, or if it is attainable, it remains unpalatable. If it is attainable and palatable, but ultimately it is, yeah. Because even if you say you got everything, when death comes, you're not going to take anything with you. So ultimately it is unretainable. So everything in life, everything material has these 3 characteristics. Okay? So,
Can you explain once again the unpalatable? What is that?
so unpalatable means that it is not to what you thought it would be. Your desires and expectation the reality doesn't match it. So you are thinking that this is going to give you a lot of happiness, but when you actually get it, you'll be like, no, this is not what I imagined it would be to me. Yeah? Sometimes you think that, again, you end up craving for chili paneer, and in your mind, you must have had chili paneer sometime before, and then when the chili paneer comes back to you in different form, and you eat it, it doesn't match your expectation of what it was like when you first had it. So that is not unpalatable. Right? Any other questions? Okay. So, all this is coming from material things. But we are not satisfied because we want to be continuously happy. Everyone in this room, and everyone in this city, everyone in this country, and everyone in this world is looking for constant supply of happiness. And we don't know where that comes from. So there is this British author known as C.S. Lewis. He said that if we find ourselves with a desire that nothing in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we are meant for another world. And how true is that? Because we find that nothing in this material world is giving us pleasure. As we said, it's either unattainable, unpalatable, and or ultimately is unretainable. So nothing in this material world is going to give us constant happiness. So what is that one thing that gives us happiness? It is love. There is a quote by a famous Beatle member called George Harrison, and he summarized it very nicely. He said that all you need is love. So we find the deepest happiness in life when we are loved and we give love. This is true everywhere. How many of you have seen a baby being born in their family? How many of you? How much happiness has that child brought to that family? Huh? A lot, right? And what is the child doing? It's just a medium for you to exchange love. Right? So we experience this love in our mundane relationships as well. But to reach constant happiness, we need to revive our relationship with the unlimited world. That's the only way we get constant happiness. So that's the second purpose. The second purpose is to revive our eternal relationship of love between each soul and God Himself. And that is the ultimate goal. So, why should one try to even understand the Bhagavad-Gita? Okay? The first reason is because the human form of life is special. Okay? So this question I have is, what is the difference between an animal and a man? You have to tell me the difference. What is the difference between an animal and a man? Yes, Krishna.
An animal is strictly controlled by the laws of nature.
Okay.
It is, as per its constitutional position, an animal only acts like that. So a lion cannot eat grass, and a goat will not eat meat. But a human is given all independence. We have the independence to do whatever we like. Although we are controlled by the laws of nature, but that independence has been given to us.
Okay.
So somebody can decide to be a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian or do whatever he wants.
Okay.
But that does not mean that he is not going to suffer the laws of nature.
Okay. So you're saying that you can enjoy independently. Okay. Anyone else?
Animal cannot think. but woman can think.
Okay, animal
And,
cannot think. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? Any difference between animal and human?
One is conscious.
Human is conscious.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just go through this verse here. Again, this one will have to reveal the difference. So, Ahara Nidra Bhaya Vaitulam Cha Samanya Ekakashvi Narana Dharma Hitesham Adhika Vishesham Dharmena Nina Pashvi Samana Ahara Nidra Bhaya Vaitulam. Ahara, food. Nidra, sleep. Bhaya, fear. Vaitulam, sexual reproduction. Cha, Samaya, Etat Kashvi. These four activities are the same between a human and an animal. Dharma hi tesa adhika. It says only religion or spiritual life that is given to a human being. Right? Both animals and humans share the activities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, but the special property, adhika, special property of the humans is that they are able to engage in spiritual life, dharma. Therefore, without spiritual life, humans are on the level of animals. Okay? The human form of life is very special. It's because it's only in this life that we are given evolved consciousness to actually inquire about spiritual life. A lion or a dog or a monkey, none of the animals have this ability or evolution of consciousness to be able to question about spiritual life. It is only human life that is able to do that. And we might be sleeping on a very posh bed and our dog might be sitting on the floor. But when both of them are sleeping, the quality of sleep is the same. You might be eating a 30-course cuisine, fine dining, and a dog might be eating just some garbage. But the happiness that you might get from eating a 30-course meal and a dog gets from eating garbage is the same. You might use nuclear weapons and sophisticated defense mechanisms, and dogs might just use their bite and their claws. But the act of defending is still the same. You might be going to, let's say, better places to perform certain activities, and dogs do it on the streets. But the quality that is derived is the same. So if we are only going to utilize our higher intellect into advancing of just doing these four activities in different ways, Shastra tells us that we are no better than animals. We are no better than animals. Okay? So, thinking of spiritual life only begins when one understands that there is no permanent happiness in this life. It begins when one understands that he is continually suffering in life and then wants to make a permanent solution to it. So, the second reason why I want to try to understand it is that a person is now willing to make a permanent solution to his continuous suffering in this world. And there are four permanent sufferings in this world. The first one is called birth. The second one is called old age. The third one is called disease. And then the fourth one is called death, or we can call it Yamraj. So that we can have B-O-D-Y. So if you have a body, that body stands for the four permanent sufferings in our life. How many of you are getting younger by the year? How many of you are getting younger by the year? How many of you have ever been in the hospital? And I was in the hospital like just last week, so I know easy it is. How many of you have seen death take place in your family? How many have you seen how painful birth is? All the mothers here. How painful is birth? Not only for you but also for the baby. Right? So these four permanent sufferings are there for everyone. Yeah, it's there for everyone. So the Gita teaches us how to make a permanent solution to this. So is this other Gita only meant for Hindus? Then it's meant for who? It's meant for everyone. Because everyone is an embodied living being. Starting, not even human beings, even the animals. The animals go through these four stages in their life, not that? Yeah? You go to the parks and they always tell you, you must see a bird, you must see a kid, you must see a mate taking place. Yeah? All these are things that you see not only even in humans, but throughout the entire animal kingdom as well. Okay. So, how should one understand this? I'm now going to ask you 3 questions, and you tell me the answer to these 3 questions. Okay. When you are being prescribed a medicine, do you follow the prescription or do you take it as and when you like it? You follow the prescriptions, right? So the first point is, we must accept it as it is. We cannot follow our own mental concoctions of how I should take this message. You have to follow the way it has been prescribed. Next question. When we go to school, do you accept theoretically that the teacher knows more than you, or do you challenge the teacher? You accept the authority of the teacher, right? At least theoretically. So, first of all, you accept Krishna as God. Theoretically accept Krishna as God, because Bhagavad-Gita means what? Gita means truth is a song, and Bhagavad means of God. So the title itself says Song of God. So theoretically, the speaker, the main speaker, Krishna, theoretically accept him as God. If you start understanding the Gita thinking that Krishna is just a historical personality, or he is just a very great personality, that will not work. Definitely it will not work. If you go with that knowledge, it's zero. It is zero. So theoretically, at least accept in the initial stage that Krishna is God, and everything will make sense. Next, people say it's a mythological text, but it is not. It is a historical text. It appears within the Mahabharata, and Mahabharata is considered one itihas. Itihas means it is how it happened. Itihas basically means it is how it happened. So meaning history, right? So we should take it as a true historical event. And then the last question I want to ask is, say you're going to approach a river, you don't have any utensils with you, and you are very thirsty. How do you drink from the river? Will you drink and punching the water and then licking, or will you take a cup of your hands and take it like this? So this shows the mood in which you should approach the Gita. You should be in a spirit of emotion, a spirit of humbleness. If you go fist and keep on challenging it, it's not going to work. You're not going to get the benefit. But if you submit yourself humbly, and then you take in the lecture of the Gita, that is what you have. So this is how we have to approach and understand the Gita with the spirit of devotion. Okay? So now we are going to cover what are the 5 main subject matters in the Gita. Okay? Once you understand this, and this is what the next part of the course will be. The next 5 sessions are, each session is going to be dedicated to one of So, we start. So the first thing that the Gita tells you, how to basically ask this question is, who are you? Okay? So we just see this small person here. This is representing us. The first question is, who are you? Okay? Second question is, where are you? Who are you? Where are you? Third is, what are you doing here? Fourth is, how long have you been doing this? And the fifth is there anything beyond this? Okay. So, the first one, who are you? Simple answer to this is, you are the soul. Okay, where are you?
That's material.
You're in the material world. Yeah? Where Mombasa? Mombasa is within Kenya. Kenya is within Africa. Africa is within the world. The world is within the solar system. The solar system is within the universe. So basically, this whole house represents the material universe. Okay. The four arrows, orange arrows. What are we doing here? We are doing activities, dharma. And for how long have we been doing it? Since time immemorial. So the fourth thing is time. And then, is there anything more than that? Yes, there is. There is the abode of Krishna in spiritual world. So these are the 5 topics. So we have, the first one is God, then we have soul, then we have karma, then we have the material world, and finally we have time. Right? So this is a 5-pointed star. And the whole Gita is basically understanding the links between these 5 things. If you understand how God is connected to the soul, is connected to karma, is connected to material, the world, and time, and all these permutations between these 5 topics is what the Gita is all about. So if you understand this star, you are a star. Okay? So, now, let's go next. Okay, now this is where I want to do like a group activity. Okay? Get everyone moving around. So, I want you, okay, let's see how many are we? We have 4. So, can people in this column get together, people in this column get together, and people in this column get together. And I want you to think for between yourselves, what makes a good student? What are the qualities of a good student? So discuss for like 2 minutes, and then we will get together and start discussing. So for 2 minutes, discuss what you think are qualities of a good student. Hare Krishna. Okay. Time? No. Yes. No. Hang on. Okay. So from this column, give me one. Yes.
So what we have learned, first is the quality of the job. Quality.
Yeah.
Quality of the job.
What's your job?
Quality.
Yeah.
Whatever you are doing, the top quality.
Yeah.
Second, the hard working.
Okay.
And third thing is obedience.
Hardworking.
Obedience.
Obedience. Okay.
Then should be able to listen.
Sorry?
Should be able to listen.
Good listener.
Listener.
Okay.
Then honesty.
Okay. That's.
Honesty. Commitment. And commitment.
Oh. Okay.
And major is work without any expectation.
Commitment and
And work without any expectation.
work without.
Any expectation.
Wow. Round of applause. Round of applause. Okay, middle row. Middle row. Yes. Wait.
He should be submissive,
Submissive.
humble,
Okay.
disciplined,
Submissive. Humble. What else?
disciplined,
Discipline.
attentive,
Okay. Attentive.
honest,
Let's see what I here.
dedicated.
Dedicated. Okay. At the back.
Punctuality.
Okay. Can I fix something here? Okay.
Inquisitive.
Inquisitive. Okay. Right? Last one. Everyone correct? Okay. So, step one for a person who can be a genuine student of the Bhagavad-Gita, out of all of these, is to be inquisitive. Because how many of you heard that analogy of taking the horse to the lake? You can take the horse to the lake, but then the horse has to drink itself. You cannot force the horse to drink. So, we got you over here. So we got you to the lake. Now it's up to you guys to want to drink in the knowledge that we will give you over the next 6 weeks. Okay? So the first part is being inquisitive. Next is that we must approach a bona fide guru. Okay? We must approach a teacher. Okay? We are very inquisitive, but we do not know where to get knowledge from. So we have to seek out the source of knowledge. Yeah? We have to seek out the source of knowledge. That's the second thing. Now you realize I put a reference. It's called from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, chapter number 3, text number 21. What does this say? It says, therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. Anyone who wants to be serious in desiring real happiness, the first thing they have to do is they have to approach the right teacher. If you want to get knowledge about how to be an astrophysicist, you will naturally go to a college which teaches that subject, right? You will not go to any college. Like you have to learn about, say, architecture. You are not going to go to, say, a biomedicine university or faculty. You will go to the faculty which is an expert in that field. So if you really want to be happy, you have to go to the people who know what true happiness is. Right? Does that make sense? It makes sense, right? So we have to first approach a person, a qualified guru, who knows the secrets to real happiness. Okay? Number 3. Step number 3 is to have faith upon the guru. You might even get to the right place. Yeah, you're very intelligent, you might get to the right place, but lo and behold, you do not trust the process of the people there. Right? You might even get to the right knowledge, but you'll be like, oh, this professor is useless, I don't understand anything. Yeah? You don't have faith in the professor. How are you going to learn? So the third step is to not have faith in that guru. And again, it is backed up by Shastric evidence. We will cover that in a few minutes. He says, only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Okay? Step 4. Step 4 is to surrender to a guru, to inquire submissively from him, hear attentively, and render service. Now, all of you have got the Bhagavad-Gita, don't you? So just open chapter 4, text number 34. And can you have a volunteer to read it? Yes, Roshi.
Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth.
Amazing. Round of applause. So, again, this whole step 4, it kind of covers all of these submissive. You see, we saw submissive, humble, attentive, dedicated. All of these come in step 4. Yeah. Once you start having faith in a person teaching you, then only will all these qualities manifest in step 4. Now, there is a special quality, a very special quality for one person who really wants to understand spiritual knowledge. And that quality is that one must be a devotee of the Lord. And this is it. Again, chapter 4, text number 3 of the Gita. If you read that, anyone wants to read chapter 4, text number 3?
Very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee,
As long as you are my devotee.
as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of this science.
Amazing. So, the special quality that one person must have is that one person must be a devotee of the Lord. The Gita was spoken by Krishna to Arjuna. How many of you are students of science or believe in the power of science? How many of you believe in the power of science? Yeah? In science, when we were in school, what did they teach us? They taught us that there must be a hypothesis, an experiment, and then you observe the result. So, hypothesis. Krishna spoke the Gita to Arjuna. Arjuna was feeling distressed, disillusioned, and everything, all the emotions, all the material emotions. Experiment. He heard the Gita from Krishna. Conclusion. What does Arjuna say at the end? Is that I am now a soul surrendered to you and a devotee. A devoted to you. I will take your instruction as final. So at the end of the Gita, after the Gita was spoken, the transformation that happened within Arjuna was that he became a devotee at the end of it. So, if after reading the Gita, one does not become a devotee, then is that repetition of that original experiment successful or not? Yeah? Science would mean that if you follow the hypothesis and the experiment, you should get the same results as mentioned in the science textbooks, right? So, if after reading the Gita, one does not become a devotee of Krishna, then his reading of the Gita is unsuccessful. As simple as that. And this is just using the logic of science. Okay? So, now we go to the other side of the coin. Again, group activity. Now get together and discuss what are the qualities that should be there in a good teacher. Please say the student, now what are the good qualities or qualities of a good student, teacher, sorry. Okay, 2 minutes. Hare Krishna? Okay. Yeah, this time start from this side. This time start from here. Okay. So, qualities of a good teacher. Anyone?
Qualification of genuine guru is that he should be connected with the Guru Parampara authorized.
Okay. Connected to Guru Parampara. Okay. What is Parampara?
Disciplining succession.
Okay, succession. Guru means teacher. Okay. Okay, another.
Whatever he is saying from the scripture, we should follow in his own life.
Okay, the practice what he teaches. Okay, practice what he teaches. Okay, last one here. Humble. Okay. Now middle column. Yes.
Should have absolute knowledge. Absolute knowledge.
Absolute knowledge. Okay. Next.
Understanding.
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 Compassion.
What he having, he should be understanding. Like he should
Okay,
understand
yeah.
that.
Should be compassionate? Is that, yeah? Compassionate, okay. compassionate, and patient. Okay. Anyone more? Which Sham? Sham Junior, Sham Senior? Sham Junior.
Adaptability.
Adaptability. Okay. Now, final one.
Respectful attitude.
Sorry, respectful?
Respectful attitude.
Okay.
Free of bias.
Free of bias.
Yes.
Okay.
Strong classroom management skills.
I think that's enough. Let's go here. Last.
Skill and quality of skill.
Skill and quality.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next.
He should have the knowledge on that particular subject.
Knowledge.
Knowledge on that particular subject.
I think that's already here.
Follow the scriptures.
All the scriptures. Okay. All the scriptures.
And teacher must be the good listener.
Good listeners.
Good listener.
Okay. Okay.
And moreover, he should understand his students, what the platform they are.
So that's kind of here.
Yeah.
Just part of that. Okay. So we'll have the qualities that one person, they should have evidence that they themselves are qualified, right? That they should have absolute knowledge. They should have evidence of having good qualification. So that is shown by the first one. They're part of a Guru Parampara system. Like I say that I got my bachelor degree from London School of Economics. Now some people might not know that university, some people might not know that. The people who know that, they know that that is one of the top for a particular field, right? So that gives credibility. That look, okay, I show that I am a graduate of this university, so that they, oh, this guy knows something, because that is proof that I have got certain qualification. So the evidence of having a good education is that they must be part of a school, or they must be part of a descending succession that will authorize, that give authority to this person actually knows what he's talking about. This is learned it from an authorized school. Right? A teacher will only teach authorized teachings and doesn't teach anything concocted and follows the textbooks and guidelines to the T. He will not teach something that is of his own concoction. He will just follow the textbooks. So, a quality is that that person, a bona fide guru, will give the message or deliver the principal messages as it is, in line with what he has heard from his teachers. He will not add anything of his own material to that. Another thing that we look at is that that person is educated himself enough to explain complex topics easily to all great students. Right? He is able to be understanding and of all, like as I said, adaptability. He is able to adapt to all students. He has got so much knowledge that even complex topics, he can bring it very simply and break it down and give the essence to, and it to be toddlers, to young children, or even to adults. Right? So, quality is that spiritual concept must be realizing the conclusion of scriptures by their deliberate study, so that they can then teach that in a very simplistic way for everyone. Next is again, practices what he teaches, same with a guru. He practices what he teaches. Now, a good teacher will also want all his students to improve and get better. It's not like the teacher will be like, oh, this person is getting A's in his class, let me focus on them. The people are getting F, anyway they're going to get F, so I don't care about them. No, a teacher is free of bias. He is looking at everyone with an equal vision and trying to get them all better. Doesn't matter of what the level of the student is. Similarly, the spiritual master is always everyone's well-wisher, and he sees all with equal vision. And finally, the teacher is of a good and gentle character and who shows love to all his students. And I think this is also what was even here. He's a good listener, he's compassionate, he's humble, he's patient. All of these are good character. And what he says that a guru must have all his senses under control. Only then can a person actually have all those qualities. Only when the senses are controlled. Okay? Now, we have 3 steps to perfection. I want you guys to think of a scenario. Say there is a boy and he wants to find a girl to settle down with. Right? He wants to find a girl to settle down with. What are the steps involved for the boy so that he can eventually settle down with the girl? What are the steps? It's not rocket science, it's very natural science. This is very one of the great. So what are the steps? Yes, step 1 would be to first of all find a girl. Yeah? How are you going to know who you can settle down with? You first need to find a girl. You need to research what does this girl have, what are its qualities, what is nature and all that. So the first point is to find a girl and to get as much information as you can about her. Second is what? The boy starts to make a move, right? The boy starts to talk to her, trying to get her number, trying to go on dates, trying to get to know her, and then finally, what's the last step? He finally gets the courage to what? To propose. To hopefully that in her second process, the second step, he has done enough to convince the girl that he is the right one for her. Right? So the first point is, you first have to know, you have to find a girl. And you get that, you understand a lot about the girl. Second is you go deeper. You start to make advances towards the girl, and finally you propose. So similarly, there are 3 steps. The first step is called sambandha. So if you have to create a relationship with somebody, you must know who that person is. I say I want to create a relationship with President Ruto. First of all, I need to know who President Ruto is. I cannot just say I want to have a relationship with him. Yeah, or like a friendly relationship with him. So I have to know who he is. And so the first question is, we have to understand who is what. And what is the relationship between me and that person. So that is known as the sambandha aspect. The second aspect is the process of reviving the soul's relationship with God, known as the abhideya. This is now the processes of texting or getting involved in trying to connect with that personality of that girl. Similarly, the processes that we use to get closer to God. That's called abhideya. And finally, is when you pop the question and God says yes, and then our efforts are fulfilled, and then we experience the true bliss of marriage. So, part 3 is once you've done the process, then the final aim is that you get love of God, which is the ultimate goal of life. So, these 3 stages, sambandha, abhideya, prayojana, these 3 are true in everything and anything that we do and see this world. Right? And Prabhupada writes in the purpose that these are the 3 purposes in the Vedas. One is to understand our relationship with Krishna, sambandha. Another is to act according to that relationship, abhideya. And the third is to reach the ultimate goal, called prayojana. So these are the 3 steps to perfection. It is true for anything and everything. If you think deeply about it, you will see that these 3 processes or these 3 steps are always there in everything. Okay? So, what is the first question? The previous one, what is the first question? Sambandha. So what is Sambandha? What are we doing there?
Relation between God and soul.
So the first thing is we have to understand who is God, right? We want to create a relationship with God, but we have to understand who is God. So the first step we saw is who is God and what is our relationship with God and the soul. So we have to understand who is God. How are we going to understand who is God? How are we going? We need knowledge about who is God. Before we go any further, we need to know this much. So how do we get knowledge?
By listening.
Okay, one, listening. That's okay. How do people get knowledge in this world? What is listening?
Practicing.
Reading. Right? Then what else? How do you get knowledge? Basically. Right? Listening, reading,
By engaging your senses.
engaging senses. Okay. Then how many of you seen a pink elephant in your life? But if I tell you to imagine a pink elephant, can you? You've never seen a pink elephant in your life. So how are you able to imagine a pink elephant? You just took the color pink elephant mixed together, pink elephant. So this is called logic. You can add two completely different things and create a picture in your mind. That's also a feature of knowledge. Okay, so in essence, there are two ways in this world to gain knowledge. Okay, there is one called the ascending way. What is another one then? Descending way. Okay, so this ascending method is taking the authority to be the self. I know everything. I know. Whatever is in my experience, I will accept as being true. Right? That is essentially, this is the modern science way of acquiring knowledge. They say that the only authority is me and my senses and my brain. So I have faith only in my senses and my mind. But in the descending path, you're taking God to be the absolute authority, and then you're putting your faith in the spiritual teachers who are living according to the knowledge given by God. Okay? Now the scope of knowledge in these two different parts is definitely, in the second part, is imperfect, it's limited, and there's a lot of effort needed to gain the knowledge. Right? We have seen a lot of material evolution in science, but this has taken place over centuries. Right? While descending knowledge is always perfect, it's always complete, and is very easy to apply. There's no effort required to apply it. And then, as we said, that there are 5 topics. In the ascending knowledge, we only have limited and imperfect understanding of up to only 3 topics: nature, prakriti, time, and karma. There is very little knowledge about the self. Even modern science doesn't even believe that we have a soul. That is how the state of modern science is. Forget about even God. They don't even believe that there is a soul. While in the descending process, we have complete and perfect understanding of all these 5 topics. Okay? So, when we say limited, what do we mean by limited? Is anyone's senses here unlimited? Yeah? Right now, like switch off all the lights, you're not able to see anyone. right? Our eyesights are very imperfect. Yeah? Can we see from here to America? How? You're sitting here.
Yeah, by mind.
We cannot see okay, which country we not be?
Yeah, that picture cannot be true, but we can.
That is imperfect, right? Because it's untrue. It's imperfect. So similarly, that our body has got four. It's limited. Our body is limited. We can all agree with this. That we have four defects. The first defect is we have imperfect senses. Number two, when we have imperfect senses, what is the use of our scientific research? Will our research be perfect? Will our research be perfect? No. So, then, because our senses are imperfect, we are always going to be under illusions. We are never going to find the truth. And then what happens? We make mistakes, errors. As I say, to err is human. To err is human. And finally, the fourth thing is we do is that we don't like to admit we are wrong. So then we cheat others. That, I have found the absolute knowledge. People 100 years ago used to think that the atom was the smallest thing in the universe. Then they found out, you know what? There's actually divisions in the atom. There's protons, electrons, and neutrons. And then another 100 years will go by, and you'll see like, there's actually even divisions in this as well. So there will be no end to how much material science will progress. But it is always going to remain imperfect because its basis is imperfect. Right? Is this logical? Is this logical to understand? Yeah? So, this is the problem with ascending path. But the descending path has no such problems. Okay. So, if I give you an example, say a child wants to know who the father is. Will the child perform a DNA test of all the males in the world? Is that possible? I mean, it is possible, but is it practical? What is the most practical thing for a child to see? Ask the mother. Now, is the mother, in this case, she is an authority, right? She is an authority. She can tell the child that this is your father. And child accept it because it's very easy to accept that authority. So, many people go and ask, what is proof? I want proof that God exists. Well, we will counter-argue that. We will counter-argue this. To whom are we proving? To whom are we proving? One person needs to be qualified enough to understand the proof. There are so many qualified astrophysicists, and they might release a paper in the science journal saying that, we proved this long-standing mathematical formula or law. But if you have not understood the laws of astrophysics, will you be able to understand the proof if they give it to you? No. Will you be able to understand it? It might be right, it may be true, but you have got more knowledge about that field. So how are you going to understand the proof? So the first counter argument that we would provide is to whom are we proving? We need to be qualified to understand the proof. So if you want to understand the proof of spiritual topics, you must be spiritually qualified. You are not going to be able to understand it based on our senses and our present condition. We need to be spiritually qualified to be able to understand the proof of spiritual topics. How many of you are professionals like lawyers, engineers, doctors, accountants? Anyone? Anyone is a professional here? Yeah. So, did you become a doctor without qualifying? Huh? You just woke up one day and decided, you know what, I'm going to be a dentist now, and you just fix everyone's teeth. Can you just do that? No, you have to undergo the process of studying dentistry and recognized knowledge for you to be able to then apply that in the world. So similarly, we cannot just claim to be something and understand something. We need to go to a person, to a college, or to a bona fide guru and understand the spiritual topics for us to be spiritually qualified to understand God. Okay? And the second thing is, what kind of proof do we seek? Because most people just say, oh, seeing is believing. But there are many things in life and nature which cannot be proven by this standard. Okay? How many of you have seen the sun in your life? Is it just a disk of 1.5 meters wide? But you can only see that much. From here you can see that the sun is only 1.5 meters wide. But is that true? So your eyes are lying to you. The sun is not only 1.5 meters wide. How many of you have put a stick in a glass of water and it bends? Yeah? So is that stick actually breaking when you put it in water? Now what is happening? Law of refraction. Right? Now how many of you who are shaving, they have that special mirror, and where that mirror becomes, it enlarges your face. Is your face becoming bigger just by looking at the mirror? Huh? So how can you trust your eyes? How can you trust your eyes? Your seeing is not believing. Then if you are trying to apply that method, then these are counter examples that we give, that your sight is imperfect. Right? So the first kind of proof that is available is called Pratyaksh Pramana. Pratyaksh means knowledge obtained by direct perception of our senses. But our senses, as already said, they are not a reliable method because they have inherent limitations in life. Okay? They will only be able to understand relative knowledge. Yeah? And not absolute. Like in school we have, or in university, we have textbooks and they say, oh, this is the second edition, third edition, fourth edition, even 10th edition. And after I graduated my university, that same textbook had another edition come out. So is that knowledge that was in the previous edition obsolete? Yes, it was. Because there was more new knowledge that had come out and made the old knowledge obsolete. So that is just relative knowledge. We are never going to get absolute knowledge through this ascending path of knowledge. And again, it is there that we have 4 defects. Our senses are imperfect, and they have a tendency to illusion. For example, the orange taste is sweeter or sour based on what you had before it. Yeah? If you had lemon juice and then you had orange juice, that orange juice would taste sweeter. But then if you had a bowl full of honey and then you had the same orange juice, it will taste a lot sour. So your senses are illusion. In the same object, you will different perceptions. Then we have a tendency to make mistakes, as I said, as human, and a tendency to cheat. And so there's a very famous hoax called the Bhaktivedanta hoax, where archaeologists had defrauded the archaeological society and showed that there existed primitive men when it was actually just skulls of modern men. So even then, you see there is a tendency to cheat others just for a bit of fame and name. Yeah? So that is Pratyaksha Pramana. Second is called Anuman Pramana. Now what is Anuman Pramana? Anuman Pramana is knowledge that is gained by making hypothesis or inference based on a Pratyaksha Pramana. Okay? So, but senses have inherent limitations. So even our inference is also based on something that is imperfect. For example, if you hear a loud crash in the next room, what do you think would be the cause of that crash? Or you might say that, oh, somebody fell down. Or you could say that maybe there was a bomb that went off. So everyone will have their own story related to the sound that might come out from the next door room. But everyone's inference is different. So how can we rely on everyone's perception? Yeah? This knowledge is unreliable and it is based on faulty sense perception. Now there are two stories. So there was a story of a bunch of doctors that gathered in a conference, and they saw that there was this one man on the street, and he was dragging his leg. And then the doctors were like, the team of neurosurgeons and orthopedics and so many different doctors. And so one doctor said, oh, this guy is walking like this because he's got a problem with his joint. Another doctor says, no, he's walking like this because I can see from his thing that he's got a problem with his bone. Another doctor says, no, he's got a problem with his nerve, that is why he's walking like this.
But actually slip by.
And then all these doctors said, okay, we cannot just argue between ourselves, we need to go there and find out what is wrong with that person. So they go to the person who is limping, and they said, okay, why are you limping? He said, oh, my chappal is broken, so I'm just dragging my feet so that the chappal is fixed, and I can get mochi to fix it and I can wear them properly again. So imagine, everyone has got their own perception, but it's always not the right one. Yeah? There's another one. There's a story of the blind man, 6 blind men with elephants. How many of you know the story? The 6 blind men, there is the elephant. Okay, so the 6 blind men. One person touches the dust, he says, oh, it's a spear. Somebody touches the ear, oh, it's a fence. Somebody touches the side, oh, it's a wall. Somebody touches the tail, oh, it's like a rope. Somebody touches the leg, it's a tree. And somebody touches the trunk, oh, it's like a snake. Now, all 6, are they right or are they wrong?
They're all right.
They're all right. But
They're all wrong.
they're also wrong because it's not incomplete. So only one person who is truly understanding will be able to see the whole picture and then say that, okay, all of you are right, and this is how everything is connected. So only a person who truly sees will be able to see the whole picture. The people who are just making their own sense perception will only get relative truths. They will not get the absolute knowledge. Okay? And finally, we have the last pramana, which is called Shabda Pramana. Now, Shabda Pramana means knowledge obtained by hearing a bona fide authority. So, what are the advantages of this? Okay. There are many things in life we just accept based on authority. Again, like that example. If a child wanted to know who the father is, we just have to ask the mother. So we just accept a lot of things based on authority in our life. And the advantages of that is because sometimes we just have no choice. And it saves a lot of time and convenience, and it is pretty safe to keep our faith in some sort of authority. Okay? So, Shabda Pramana, okay, so if this was true for even material things, then imagine how much true it is for things which are beyond the material sphere, which are in the spiritual sphere. So that is why Shabda Pramana is the only Pramana that can be accepted because it penetrates both the material and the spiritual realm. Pratyaksha and Anuman are only in the material realm, but Shabda is throughout. Okay? So Shabda Pramana is that authority which is infallible, perfect, and free from all defects. And the only person who is infallible, perfect, and free from all defects is God. Because these are the 4 defects we have as humans. God doesn't have this. God has perfect senses. He never gets illusion. He never makes an error. and he doesn't cheat anyone. But humans do all of these four things. So, Founder Acharya is authority which is infallible, perfect, and free from all defects. And God Himself is able to give knowledge about Himself. No one else. No human will be able to know God. It's like the frog in a well versus the ocean. There's a Mr. Frog who was living in a well, and another friend of the frog comes and says, "Oh, have you heard of the ocean? Have you seen how big the ocean is?" And Mr. Frog in the well says that, "Oh, is it twice the size of my well? 3 times? 4 times? 5 times?" He will never be able to understand the vastness of the ocean because he is only thinking about his own little existence. Okay? So God Himself is the only one who is truly able to give knowledge about Himself. Okay? So therefore, when we say Word of God means scripture. And it is called Purusha, meaning it has a divine origin. It is not something that is man-made. Right? So, God can be understood through scripture and those who live through the scripture. So these are the two things. God can be understood by the book, by His word, or by a person who lives according to the word of God. Okay? This is how God can be understood. He cannot be understood in any other way. Okay? And scriptures contain axiomatic truths. What this basically means is whatever is there in the Gita or in the Vedas, it is going to be true. There is no way you can test it, but just accept it is true. Now I'm going to give you some examples of how the Vedas are always true. Let's go next. First one is in Sanskrit. You know what the word for geography is? The word for geography is called Bhugol. Gol means sphere. So you're trying to tell me that 5,000 years ago, the ancient sages of Vedic times did not know that the earth was flat? Is that what modern science is saying? That 2,000 years ago people used to believe that the earth is flat. But Vedic times, we always knew that the earth was a sphere. It's called Bhugol. Second, they always call this the island of seven islands, referring to the 7 continents. Before even people knew what a continent was, the Russians knew that there was Saptadvipa. There were 7 islands on this Bhugol. Right. Now, this is very interesting. Now, people know that in the Gita, Sanjaya was given divine vision by his guru. And the first thing that Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya is, describe to me the world. And Sanjaya says this fantastic verse. And he explains that the world is like 2 people trees, leaves, and then followed by a rabbit. So the ancient saints were like puzzled, like, what is this? So they tried to draw it. They tried to draw 2 people leaves and a rabbit. And they're like, okay. But people laughed. People laughed at this representation of the world. It was only when it was flipped on its head did they start to make sense. Can you see that? Can you see North America, South America, the rest of Asia, Africa? Yeah? And this was 5,000 years ago. This was written, this was spoken by Sanjaya 5,000 years ago, that this is how the world looked like. But it was remained unhidden until somebody took the courage to try to draw this. And this was even drawn like in the 1600s. So, third is that, fourth is that we said that cow dung is pure, but they also said all stool is impure, but cow dung is pure. And like, why do the Vedas contradict themselves by saying that stool is impure, but then cow dung is pure? And it is actually been tested that cow dung has antiseptic properties. and it is actually very, very, very beneficial and healthy. So fifth is that the many predictions of Kali given in the Vedas about this day and age. Next is that many of these predictions have actually come true. They have made the event of Buddha that was predicted 5,000 years ago, and he came. There is the description of Chanakya Pandit, the Chitta warrior coming in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is the prediction of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that comes in the Vedas. So all these predictions were made 5,000 years ago, and subsequently they have been proven true. Yeah? But still, even after giving such infallible examples, some people are hesitant to accept the Vedas. So, why? They say that what is said in the Vedas doesn't hold up in what I've experienced. Sometimes people will read something like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But, as I've already said, that we will still accept the version of the Vedas because they prove that our senses are imperfect and they are limited, while the Shraddha Brahman is perfect. And finally, people will say, like, isn't that accepting the statements of Vedas constituting blind faith? But then the thing is, we must put our faith somewhere. Yeah, we cannot function without faith. How many of you came here driving a car? Yeah? So, how many of you have faith in the other road users that they are going to follow the rules of the road, and so that you can also come here safely? Huh? How many of you put faith in other people for you to be able to come here safe and sound? Yeah? So we must put our faith somewhere. Without faith, we cannot even function in this world. How many of you have gone in an aeroplane, flown somewhere? Did you go check the pilot's qualifications that he can fly? No, you just put your hands in some stranger person and say that, okay, now you take me to my destination. Yeah? So, anyone ate at a restaurant? How sure you that the chef has not given you something poisonous to eat? You put your faith, even in unknown people. So without faith, you cannot even function in this world. And modern scientific experiments also rely on their faith. Because they have faith that the hypothesis that was formulated by inference will work in the true world. And so if the experiment is successful, the faith will increase. That's only the case. So similarly, by starting with a little faith in the Vedas or in the scriptures, and then testing what they tell you, one will find that they will always work. They will always work. And then this creates more faith. And so this is also a science. Because you are not just testing or accepting blindly. You're going to have a bit of faith. Start with a bit of faith. Test what they're telling you. And then you see it will always work. It will always work. And then you know it's like complete science. This is spiritual science. That is material science. You cannot combine the two. Although the principles are the same, but you cannot just say that this is one science and this is not another science. Right? Okay. So, finally we said what is scripture? The scripture is, as we said in the beginning, the gentleman said, it's a word of God, which is completely true. It is a manual for the universe. This microphone that I'm speaking to you with, it was manufactured, yes or no?
Yes.
Did it come with a manual on how to operate it?
Yes.
So anything that has been manufactured, iPhone, Samsung, whichever phone you have, it came with a manual, right? So whatever thing that was manufactured has always come with a manual. So what was the manual for the entire universe then? When the universe was created, what was the manual? The manual is the scriptures, right? The scriptures. Next. It contains absolute knowledge. This knowledge, it was true 5,000 years ago, millions of years ago, it's true today, it will be true thousands of years from now. It will never change. This is absolute knowledge. It is not changing like material science. It is always going to stay the same. And therefore, it is a perfect science. And also, it is a means to understand God. They say that God is like our father, and scriptures is like our mother. So, if you want to know who the father is, we have to ask the mother. We have to consult the mother. So, the mother is the scriptures, is a means to understand God. And finally, the last one we have to learn is then what are the Vedas? The Vedas means the aggregate of all knowledge. And so, this knowledge, if you can trace down the beginning of knowledge, you can trace down the beginning of Vedas. But you cannot. Because knowledge has been existing as long as creation has existed. And in the Bible ages, the knowledge of the Vedas, the sages would receive it orally, imbibe the teachings and repeat it to the disciples. But 5,000 years ago, a personality known as Yahweh was feeling compassion because he could see that the coming generation of people in Kali, they will not be able to retain this knowledge. Their minds will be very short, the intelligence will be very limited. So he wants, out of a feeling of compassion, he wrote down all the Vedas on the leaves and recorded that knowledge for our benefit. And so he created 4 Vedas which were divided into 108 Upanishads. Then there are 11 main Upanishads, the essence of which became known as the Vedanta Sutras. The Vedanta Sutras were explained in 18 Puranas, and then more was given in Ityasas like the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay? So ultimately, the whole purpose of doing this was that the essence of all of this is then put in one book. And that book is in front of you, called the Bhagavad-Gita As It Is. As we said in the first slide, Sarvo Upanishada Gavo, then Lokta Gopala Nandana, Partha Vatsa Sudhe Gupta, Dukta Vitaram. All the Upanishads are like a cow, and the milker of the cow is Lord Shri Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the cow, the beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk, and the fortunate devotees of the fine mystic intellect are the drinkers and the joy of the milk. So we are now going to present to you now the essence of all Vedic knowledge, which is the Bhagavad-Gita. We said the 5 topics, the 5 subject matters. The next 5 Fridays are each going to tackle each one of these. Okay? So by the end of the course, you will be able to understand the full picture. Okay? That is theme-wise. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, there is